what that's actually going to be. But I think they took a look at Windows Mobile and said, this is a joke. It doesn't do multitasking. It doesn't do copy and paste. It doesn't do blah, 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 and blah. And it has no apps. Sorry, Microsoft, we can't sell that to anyone, so we're not interested in that. And I think they're looking for a way to distinguish themselves so that they're not just one more Android Slate device.
Mm-hmm. Here's an interesting thing I'm reading from the article. It's going to run on Android 2.2, which is meant for phone, and Android actually has a 3.0 version that's going to come out, which is specifically meant for bigger devices.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. What I honestly see happening there is when they release their Android devices, I see them doing exactly what the iPad did, and that they're going to release with whatever the current build is, which is 2.2 right now. And then as soon as 3.0 comes out, within a month, they're going to push an update.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if 2.2 is compatible with 3.0. I know stuff after 2.2 that's 2.3.4 is going to be compatible, but 3.0 is supposed to be something different. You know, it's going to be a little bit different, optimized for, you know, the kind of way we interact with something that's a little bit bigger than a phone, which we do differently. So, I don't know what that's going to mean. I don't know if it's going to, how it's going to run all the apps in a different way. I'm not sure.
Well, no, like some of the things that are happening in 3.0 that Android does kind of need is you will be able to, and this is beneficial on a tablet form factor, but it doesn't mean you can't run it on a phone. In fact, there will be phones running 3.0 and other Android devices. 3.0 will be the Android OS that all the devices are going to be going up to when they get to that point. One of the things they're changing, like with the optimization you're talking about, this is something the individual manufacturers have to do right now. Like I said, the better Android devices, it looks like they're not coming out till February, are doing this for tablets. They have taken the keyboard and customized it specifically for their form factor, so that it's not the Android 2.0 keyboard distorted, but in a way that, well, it's distorted. It doesn't. This is meant for a small form factor for thumb typing, and that doesn't really work right on this large form factor. So I need another keyboard. Little things like that. Basically, they're gonna. Part of the 3.0 modifications is they're building in all the hooks necessary so that each individual device manufacturer can make those tweaks for the build of Android they load on their device, so that they can push the Android updates through without needing to redo all those tweaks, because they'll be independent of the OS. So they make the tweaks for their form factor. It's got a little sheet or file in the sheet that says, these are the tweaks for this device. Don't fuck with them. Just update. And those changes are necessary, especially if you're going to be running an OS on multiple form factors. Because otherwise you have to go make a custom app for each one of those things, which a lot of the manufacturers are doing, but then if something's changed, they got to go update their app, and that's part of why updates are lagging behind, and other things like that. I don't know if I like the idea that Google's going to slow down updates once they hit 3.0. They've announced that that's what they're going to do.
Really?
Yeah.
You have Chrome updates and slow down Android ones?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're going to be updating Chrome like mad, and they're going to basically make Android update once a year. Which, it has me...
Bad thing.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. How that has me concerned is Android's based on Linux, and you and I both know the rate at which Linux changes.
Right.
And we've both seen firsthand what happens when a distro tries to go, well, we're not changing anything for a year. It doesn't take long to get outdated. Which is one of the reasons I love rolling distros so much. Because it's like they embrace the fact that it's in a constant state of flux.
So once it gets to 3.0, both the 2 series and the 3 series are only going to get updated once a year.
No, it's gonna be the 3.0 series.
Oh, just the 3.0 series. So the 2 series might be updated.
No. It's gonna become Android 3.
Well, no. I mean, 2 is going to continue for lower end devices, and 3 is going to continue for higher, bigger end devices. That's what they stated.
Okay.
There's going to be a 2.3 for the smaller, lower end phones, and there's going to be possibly a 2.4, and there's continuing at 3. 2.2 is not necessarily going to become 3.0 because 3.0 has restrictions that not all future phones will follow.
Well, there's some hardware changes going on there too.
I mean, it's just like Python is on 2.6 and there's also 3.0, but there's also going to be a Python 2.7. It's going to
okay. No, I see what you're talking about now. But yeah, as far as I know, they're slowing down on both.
Okay.
So, yeah. I guess their reaction to the fact that OEMs are dragging their feet and pushing out updates is, okay, we're not going to push out updates. I'm like, yeah, way to go. Let the whole industry hold everything up. I kind of liked the fact that a new version of Android kept coming out.
It's not like the other phone OSs have a new version come out that quickly.
No, they do it once a year, and
so until another phone OS does do that, they have no reason to really.
I guess.
Well, it can still update. I mean, yeah, it's kind of sad, but it's not. Moore's law is every 18 months, so that's more than a year. So,
but you need to. Here's the thing to keep in line with Moore's law in reference to mobile phones and mobile devices. We're capable of doing gigahertz, dual-core gigahertz chips right now, which nobody's released. It's like we're supposed to have, what is it? They're going to have, I think the first run of the dual Snapdragons are supposed to be 1.4, so the equivalent of 2.8 gigahertz worth of processing power. And we're still going to be selling 533 megahertz Android devices.
Right.
It's like, so, I'm sorry, Moore's law doesn't play into it. It's the rule in cell phones is, what is the oldest piece of crap I can sell and charge you the most money for?
Wow.
Which I think is one of the reasons Android wasn't adopted as quickly, because Android was constantly pushing the envelope. Which, if they slow everything down and turn everything over to the OEMs, I'm not sure it's going to continue to do that. I honestly think iOS users should kiss Android's. Okay, I don't want to say that condescending, but they should thank Android, because Android is the only reason Apple decided that y'all should have multitasking. I'm sorry, you can make whatever argument you want. You go, oh, well, Steve Jobs just hadn't polished it pretty yet. You can say that however much you want. They did it because if they didn't, they weren't competing anymore. And they didn't even really do it as much as they should. But it's because Android did that from day one. Now Apple does it. Apple does too. And it's. I don't want to see that competition slow down. I want to see it speed up so that these devices get better and better and better. I don't want to wait 20 years for the devices we were talking about earlier to come about. I want them here this decade, damn it, because the technology is here today.
Right. Yeah. The future's here, it's just not widely distributed yet.
Yeah. Well, it's like, and think about it. I mean, it's not in their best interest to bring us that technology, because the average person doesn't even know it exists. Another two, the things like the 6th Sense I'm talking about, the prototype the guy uses doesn't even cost $200. But again, Google 6th Sense and look at it. and realize that this device this guy is doing all this cutting edge stuff with is less than $200 to make. Singular prototype. So you can imagine how cheap it would be in mass production type stuff. And so it could be done in cell phones without raising the price at all. But they don't want it. Because that'd be a whole paradigm shift in the technology and everything else. And you can't rehash old stuff if you do a paradigm shift. So, I don't know. We got anything else to go into? Let me see. Coverage settings, coverage side, mobile phones. Intel's off the chopping block. I never thought that had any... I never got why that was going at all. It's like I'm not sure that falls into the category of PC versus Mac, but it's something Apple... It's something people are getting on. Like, oh, Intel's an evil monopoly that needs to be stopped. Like, no, they're not. They just make a better product. Well, they're an evil monopoly. You muted for a minute. Did you just say something?
I said, well, I've heard a few things that Apple has some business practices that,
Apple does, not Intel.
Oh, well.
Or do you mean Intel?
I mean Intel. I mean, I haven't heard it myself, but, well, I've heard it from my sister. A lot of her friends have been saying that, and she doesn't want to get Intel because of that reason. I haven't looked into it myself, but...
Like, give me an example.
Said that Intel will, make people not get other processors, pay them to not get other processors. They'll, again, I haven't looked much into it myself.
Okay, I'll give you an example of what she's talking about. In some cases, if you're buying Intel stuff, Intel will go, well, we'll give you the processor, the motherboard, and the graphics for less than the cost of the processor. Because it's all our stuff. We can afford to do that. Which is a practice that's kind of gone away with the on-chip systems they're going for. But they were doing that for a while. And that was where the whole, well, how can AMD compete when Intel's offering that kind of bundle? It's like, well, did anybody say AMD couldn't offer that kind of bundle? They're choosing not to. AMD, even with those kind of bundles, AMD was still cheaper. People weren't going with AMD because it's a different type of architecture, and I'm sorry, I'd love to see AMD get back like they were in the late 90s, early aughts, where they were really, doing things that were benefiting their architecture, and they were a comparable system. Because that was where the pendulum went. It was Intel, and then Intel started to fall out of the bottom because they just weren't doing what they needed to, and AMD really became vastly superior processors, and then it went the other way. And I'd love to see AMD pick up the slack and get back out, but, trying to prevent Intel from competing openly with them isn't going to fix that problem. What's going to fix that problem is going back to the drawing board and making a CPU that's a better CPU. And some people have argued that even though that's the war everyone's obsessed with the way processors are changing right now and the way GPUs are becoming a lot more important than the actual CPU, as far as end user systems going, that NVIDIA it's going to be NVIDIA versus Intel before too long. And AMD's just completely cut themselves out of the loop. So, I don't know. But basically the judge says, no, they're not a monopoly. No, they don't need antitrust stuff. It's like the whole thing's been dropped in the EU and the States. So, unless there's anything else, we're right at 4 parts. So if there's anything else you think we should go into for a 5th part, or think we're there?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Well, hopefully the 15-minute time limit's real and this works out. Peace out, all.